Yo, what's up everybody? Chris here from Esports News Rotation. Now, I have the flipping on these interwebs, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick update from yesterday's video where I went over what 9 through 7 can do to improve their standing in the CDL going into Major 2 and the qualifiers. So, now I'm going to run it back with 4 through 6. So, we're going to start with number 6, that being the Riyadh Falcons. Let's look at where they are strong, where they're weak, and where they can make improvements. So, as you guys can see, they're 6-4 in series overall, 21-19 in maps, 1.03 team KD, 40 maps played, lost their last series, of course, that being to Faze Vegas in elimination. That's how elimination works. And yeah, so looking at their overload, 6-4, S&D 7-6, doing okay. And then their hard point definitely needs work, 8-9. So let's look at their difficulty of schedule to see where some of these losses came through, right? So you lost to OpTic Texas and LA Thieves in the beginning of the season. Oops. And in those matches, you of course got 3-0 and 3-1 respectively, so that's where a couple of the hard point L's are coming through. You lost 2 of them in this LA Thieves series, presumably, right? Won the first one, split them. Okay. So yeah, I mean, honestly looking at it, it's just difficulty of schedule. They played OpTic, Thieves, Ravens, G2, Mates. I mean, those are 4 of our best teams in the league currently. So, Ravens were 5-2 to end that stage. So this win was big. Thieves obviously made winners, so did OpTic. Mates won the entire event, and G2 got 4th. So everyone here was very serious. They played OpTic at the event, obviously got smacked, and they played Faze Vegas. So they've only had a couple easy matches. Really, Breach and Cloud9 were their only easy matches, but the rest were just difficulty of schedule. So you would expect for things to pan out a little bit differently for them. Well, I mean, they played Gentlemates in their first matchup on Valentine's Day to start the quals. So yeah, that's looking like a tough one. Anything can happen coming out of a break, but playing the defending Major 1 champs, looking to be at their best, definitely a tough task. And then playing the Breach, that should be a pretty safe series for them to hang their hat on, definitely show some improvement. So I think honestly they're just in a place where they need to start learning how they want to play. Nothing really too much to panic about here. I mean, they just had some pretty tough competition to play up against, and they won a good amount, enough to be happy going up against that kind of slate of just difficulty, right? For them to only have 4 losses out of the 10 series that they played, and you only got about 3 series that were really easy of those 10, you have to be pretty happy with that. So, speaking of other teams that have to be pretty happy with what they have going on right now, we have the LA Thieves, who recently made a roster change. Of course, they replaced Kenny with Nium. It hasn't been changed here on the site yet, but they confirmed it the other day on Twitter. So, looking at it, every series that they played against top tier team, like Faze Vegas, Gentlemates, Koi, Gentlemates again, they got absolutely smacked. They had their lone victory against OpTic Texas when OpTic looked to be in weird form, and then they beat the Riyadh Falcons before the break, same with Faze Vegas. But coming out of the break, and even going into the break, they lost to Gentlemates, which was kind of like, But yeah, I mean, coming out of the break, they definitely did not look that good. They were 3-6 from the looks of it. So 3-7, I'm sorry, from the looks of it. So not really super encouraging. You can see why they made the roster change. They got 3-0'd by the Mates, and they got 3-0'd by Faze Vegas. They got double rounded after 3-0ing Carolina, who, it can be said, just had a very off day. So if Carolina played to their normal potential, then they might have gotten double first rounded. So I can see why they made the change now in retrospect. And I think going forward, they will look much better. So not really a lot to say in terms of how Thieves improve. I think that team comp was just not going to work, and they made the necessary move to improve things. So speaking of teams who made necessary moves to improve things with team comp, we have G2 Minnesota, who honestly, this looks to be a really good roster. Yeah, they just got 4th place at the last event. If they didn't troll the game 5 against Faze, who knows how that would have gone? Who knows how the rest of the tournament would have gone? But yeah, looking at their difficulty of schedule, they had 2 very difficult matches, that being against OpTic Texas, Carolina Royal Ravens, and then another one against Falcons. Falcons are a good team, so they had 3 of their 4 first matches being quite difficult. Lost to the Boston Breach, not a great sign, but they righted the ship coming out of the break. As you guys can see, they beat Faze Vegas, they beat Toronto Koi, They beat Faze Vegas again. Then they lost to OpTic Texas, which you kind of expect, right? And then they beat Miami Heretics. They 3-0'd them, which was pretty surprising. And they took Faze to a game 5. So they almost beat Faze 3 times in 2 weeks, which is very impressive considering Faze was the number 1 seed going into Major 1, right? I'm sorry, Mates was, but Faze was number 1 seed before they took them down. So definitely decisive to take them down 3-0. Lost to OpTic, lost to Faze again, and then beat Miami. So they look pretty good. I feel like looking at their map pool, their hardpoint is definitely much stronger than we would have expected. Their overload is mid. They definitely need to work on that overload, getting Sky's more involved consistently. He's been a little bit out to play with overload, so if they get him more involved consistently, I feel like it can definitely improve. And their S&D, I feel like it's more just a matter of getting things worked out for themselves in the way that they call late game situations and adjustments. That Faze series, they had no adjustments, and their late game calls are questionable at best. But I think if they considerably improve their S&D and their overload, I think they'll be an elite team. Their hardpoint's been very, very good, even against the elite teams, so I like that out of them. But their overload is very, very questionable against the best teams. Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't look good, and then their S&D, sometimes they just look completely flat. So I think they need to go back to the drawing board with the way they approach S&D overall, especially how they play around Skies when he's not having good games. And the same can be said for Overload. If Skies is not having a good game, then this G2 team typically doesn't really have the mechanisms in place to kind of just weather it and play through it, right? Like you see the best teams, OpTic, Faze, etc. Someone can be having a bad game and they'll still win the map or the series because the others know how to just play around it. So when G2 learns how to do that, they'll be an elite team. Those are my thoughts on what 4 through 6 can do to get better. Not really a lot of improvement for these guys. That's why I try to be quite specific in the way that they can improve. I mean, they're the top tier team, so it's a game of inches at this point. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy all these daily videos I'm trying to put out. I'll be back tomorrow to evaluate what the top 3 can really do to continue being in this position of elevation over the rest of the league. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris from Esports News X Rotation. However, the flip, you know me, these interwebs, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.